In a traditional math class like the ones both you and I grew up in, students sit in rows or groups facing the front of the classroom and listen to the teacher present the lesson for most of the class period. They are assigned a set of practice problems to bring home to do individually for work. Then they come back to class the next day and follow the same routine. I have come to find that this is not always the best way to help our students learn, for many reasons. Let me talk about three of them. 1. Students learn at different paces. When I would teach a lesson to the whole class, there would be many students who did just fine, and there would be some who understood it quickly and wanted me to move on, so they got bored. But then there would also be several students who learned at a slower pace and needed more time than we had in class to process the information. In a traditional class, it's hard for me to reach all of my students every day. 2. I find that students often bring home practice problems for homework, but they're not quite confident enough to do it on their own yet. And at this level of math, most students don't have someone at home who can help them. So this means they either get stuck, give up, write down a bunch of numbers to try to make it look like they did it, or they cheat. Either way, the practice problems do not help the student learn the material the way it was intended to be learned, and it becomes a waste of time. This isn't helpful to our students or respectful of their time and effort. 3. Students miss class throughout the year for a variety of reasons, whether it be an illness, extracurriculars, or family reasons. When they miss a lesson in algebra, it's a big deal because the lesson often builds upon one another. Thus, the student has to come in on their own time to learn the lesson, and the teacher has to re-explain the whole lesson to the student. And this isn't an efficient use of anyone's time. But all of these problems can be resolved with the flipped classroom. So what is the flipped classroom? I'm just going to give you the very basics. What was normally done in school is now done at home, meaning students will get the lessons at home through videos. They can watch these on their computer, iPod, mobile device, or televisions if they need to. They take notes during the video, making sure to pause, rewind, rewatch, or even fast forward as needed. They learn the lesson fully at their own pace and are in charge of their learning. Students will also be expected to write down any questions or concerns they have about the lesson viewed. They're not expected to master the material just by watching a video, but they are expected to understand the basics and bring in confusing topics to class to discuss and get clarified the next day. So, since they get the lesson at home, what do they do in class? This is the fun part. Students will be able to participate in discussions about the math and get their questions answered by me and their peers. They will still do most of the normal practice problems that would have been done at home, but now they have help whenever they need it, so they don't get as frustrated. Any questions they have are answered right away. Because of the extra time we will have, students can now work on higher level thinking activities, such as analyzing the problems, applying the concepts to real world situations, and evaluating their work and the work of others, and creating their own material to share. It is a much more exciting and engaging environment to be in, and students have an active role in their learning, rather than passively sitting back listening to me talk all period. I am very busy throughout the entire class period, helping students one-on-one and in small groups, answering the questions and challenging them to think deeper. It's very exhausting, but so worth it when I see them begin to take responsibility for their learning and really master the material I have set out for them.
Created using Powtoon.